I've been asked so many times how I put a stem on preserved rose heads. So basically when you buy them, they come literally just the head with this tiny little nub of a stem, just like that. It comes with a little pin at the end of it. So we're going to take that pin out and basically use the hole that it leaves. So take the casing off and then get yourself a wire. Get yourself quite a thick wire, because the thicker they are, the sturdier the stem. So if you've got something that's not very thick, then it's going to be quite bendy. So if you're making a bouquet with it, and it's not going to be as sturdy as a natural stem. So ideally we want it as thick as possible. Thread the wire through the hole about a third and then bend it round. Then you're going to take your parafilm tape. Some people use parafilm, and there is another type of tape as well. I think it's called Semtex, but I prefer this one. It's just what I learned with, so it's personal preference. And then you're just going to wrap the tape around the wire to hold it together. A little tip with parafilm, it works better when it's a little bit warmer, so maybe just put it in your pocket for a few minutes, like just to warm it up before you actually use it, because if it's been sat in like a cold garage or florist shop where it's really cold, then it just keeps snapping on you and it makes it really difficult to use. If you've never used parafilm before, you basically just hold the tape with your thumb around the wire, pull the tape so it stretches a little bit, and then twizzle the stem around, and then it'll wrap around the stem just nicely. It does take a little bit of practice if you've never used it before. It's not like normal sellotape. So that is one method. Now I'm going to show you. So basically, if this little nub breaks off, which sometimes happens with stems, it can be obviously really difficult to wire your rose heads. So here is another method that you can use. You can do this whether the little stem that's left has fallen off or not, but you're just going to take a thick wire again and you're going to shove it through the center of the rose, so where the stem was or where the stem is, right through the middle, and push it till the wire comes out of the top of the rose. Once it's come through, you're going to bend a tiny little U shape into the wire at the top, and then very carefully, and obviously watch where you're pulling it, pull it back through so that the hook anchors down into the center of the rose. This is probably the sturdiest way to wire one of your rose heads, because obviously it's not going to come out unless you pull it straight back through the rose head, but it's obviously a little bit trickier because you don't want to damage your petals as you're pulling the wire through. So again, personal preference. For the purpose of this video, I haven't actually done this, but you could tape your wire all the way down to the bottom so that the end of the wire is covered, just because when you're putting them in bouquets, which is usually bridal bouquets that you use these for, you don't want any wires exposed because you don't want it to pluck the dresses, basically. So I think it is, just from a professional point of view, maybe just make sure that the tape is all the way down the wire, covering the end of it as well. Now I'm just going to flex my rose, and to do this, if you've never done this before, your petals are sort of like bent around. You're going to bend them inside out and they just basically stick like that. So just very carefully pull them down individually, one at a time. The good thing about preserved roses is that they don't bruise. So if you was doing this with a fresh rose, you need to be extra careful, because the petals, once they bend, they bruise. So you don't want to sort of snap them, if that makes sense. Preserved roses are a little bit sturdier than fresh roses as well, so a little bit stronger and easier to use, but they obviously come at a cost. They are very expensive, but I'm just going to show you this just so you can see the difference between a flex rose and a rose in its natural state. So I'm going to show you them side by side. The size difference is literally doubled, so it would work out more cost effective to flex your roses. I hope you found this video useful. Please hit the subscribe button for more hints and tips.